This live stream is presented to you by MaxspeedTV. All live streaming content that is presented in this telecast is owned by MaxspeedTV, Rudy Cummings, and the entire crew of MSTV. This may not be rebroadcasted, retransmitted, and retelevised without written consent. Please enjoy today's broadcast. Welcome you here live for tonight's opening round. Ceremony is getting to take place here at Iowa. Going to go ahead and do 80 circuits around at this .875 mile racetrack. Glad you could join us here live on Max Speed TV, your #1 broadcaster in sim racing. My name is Ezekiel Reyes.
I'm Dewey Schramm.
And I'm Kenneth Bueno.
What's poppin'?
Be our three commentators here for tonight. Sort of butchering that, but yeah, yet again, Street Stock's gonna go live again here in just about like 5-10 minutes once we take the green flag. And man, 10 seasons of Street Stocks. Who would have thought we would have made it that far deep in for iSCAR? This is crazy. How this is the 10th season of this, and not only that, it's pretty special going to some very different tracks this season.
Yeah, of course, I don't know if we've ever gone to Iowa here in the Street Stocks before, but even across the whole season, of course, next week we'll be taking these cars to Dover, which will be a pretty good race, I believe, and Darlington 2 weeks later. So, you know, Darlington's one of those tracks where it's already difficult to drive a lot of cars around, but taking a Street Stock around Darlington's going to be a real challenge. It should be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's an interesting challenge here at Iowa. And again, you mentioned the fact that these are newer tracks this season. There's a host of newer tracks that fare differently from what we saw last season. And considering that it's a 10th season this time around, I think it's going to be super fun. I think these drivers are really up for the challenge tonight. And especially here at Iowa, this track is very fun. And as we've seen in practice, these guys are putting some close times together. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, looking at the leaderboard, 30th place is William Schmidt, and he's just over a half-second slower than Liam Sheen, who leads practice. So almost the entire field within half a second of the leader. So with that many cars close together in speed, I think we're going to have a really, really good fun race tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Still 2 minutes and 41 seconds left in this practice session as of right now, as everybody's sort of on the screw-around mode right now. They don't need any more practice. They could just get up and away.
Practice?
Advance, but
We talking about practice?
But yeah, you take a look at the leaderboard. Of course, Liam Sheen in that number 44 picked up his first win last season. That number 44 looking strong to maybe get another win. But at 44, Sheen, he's sporting a new number. We'll see some new numbers throughout the race and notify you about that. Cole Woody in the 914. Corey Hartson in the 77. I think Dewey knows more about the number situation rather than I do, because I haven't really been paying attention lately. So, Dewey, why don't you just fill us in on notable drivers here for tonight?
Well, a bit more on Liam Sheen. He's also sporting some new team colors, as over the off-season he joined Peak Performance Motorsports. So another entry to the Corey H. Hart's run team. So congrats to him on that move. So we'll have to see how he runs in his team debut here tonight and see how he can work with his new teammates. Of course, this will also be the first full season of SPM Racing. Of course, came about midway through Summer Series Part 1. Got Christopher Weil and Charlie Beyer near the top of the leaderboard for that team, and I'm not sure if Carson and there's Kilo in 12th. I'm not sure if Carson's here, but the Street Stock debut for the full season for that team. So excited to see what they can do as well.
All right. You go ahead, Kenneth.
Yeah, lots of interesting teams we see here tonight. And all the number changes, of course, that does not change the skill these drivers have. Going into tonight, you look at the top of the leaderboard, Liam Sheen has dominated practice so far, but it's not too far off from second place. And falling back to see a couple of drivers tangling with each other in practice mode right now. Charlie Byer, Christopher Weil, Jonathan Jones among the top 4 that are really close together in these times right now in practice. And I want to ask you guys before we kind of get into this is kind of what do you really expect knowing that these guys are so close and how that will translate into tonight's race?
I think it's going to be almost like pack racing a little bit. In all honesty, I think there's going to be some... I'll bet you some of these practice laps are probably draft laps because with how close everyone's going to be, for all we know, we could see some potential bump drafting down the backstretch. But as the checkered flag will fly here in practice, Liam Sheen, the fastest by a couple thousandths over Charlie Byer. We'll scoot ourselves off to the side, and we'll be back with more here after the national anthem plays. So rise up and move your hats as we salute the nation's colors.
We welcome you back here live, currently under qualifying conditions here for the first round out of 6 iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Tour, getting set to go green. Currently now looks like 3 minutes in practice remaining. I mean, not practice, what am I saying? This is qualifying. 3 minutes of qualifying remaining. Everybody in the order and their lap time is going to be shown on the left-hand side of the screen. Kenneth, we were just talking about it. You mentioned it on how this racing is going to turn out to be. With looks like a lot of lap times are fairly close. How do you expect tonight to be here for this one?
Yeah, I think especially with the fact that this is a new track these guys really haven't run, I think these guys are going to try as much as they can to try to find every sort of grip around the track. I know this track is kind of have a couple different lines, so we might see some drivers transition into that. But as far as what I've seen, a lot of drivers seem to stick to the bottom of the racetrack. And I think especially as these guys are really tight packed together, you're going to see a lot of drafting. You're going to see a lot of drivers trying to make some other moves and try to really get around each other in the best way possible. Because this track is short, but with these cars and the low power, it's going to be interesting to see how those guys kind of work around each other.
Yeah, Dewey mentioned it earlier. This track, even though it's under a mile, it races like a classic speedway, which you see on the 1.5 miler side of things, like at Charlotte, Texas, and maybe even Auto Club, but that's for a stretch. But yeah, this track offers a lot of real estate for racing. I expect a lot of drivers to be side by side and such, but they got to keep themselves off of each other, or else there's gonna be contact made, and there might be a big mess. I just see Christopher Weil in number 41. Do we have something to say?
Well, I was going to say big wrecks and street stocks are almost synonymous with each other.
Yeah.
We see a big wreck at some point in a street stock race almost every week, so would not surprise you whatsoever if we see one. But a little change up at the top of the board as Liam Sheen, who paced practice, now finding himself second fastest so far as Hunter O. Johnson has gotten the pole up to this point.
Oh, looks like Noah's on Evo. I didn't realize that. You'll see, to zoom up on his scheme. It's like, Noah Allison. I know very recently Evo and SPG merged up with each other, and take a look at that. Number 24 sporting both of those teams' colors, and I didn't realize he was on there now, so congrats to him for the switch.
Yeah, there were quite a few team changes. Of course, we mentioned Liam at PPM earlier. Gabe Allen joined SPM. Looks like that'll be only for the Super Speedway Series. But yeah, quite a bit of drivers moved around in the off-season. There's Mitch Hobbs, the defending Super Speedway Series champion, as qualifying will wrap itself up here. And Hunter O. Johnson will take the pole for the first race of Summer Series Part 2.
Congratulations to him. The whole gridding order is going to be shown on the bottom of your screen. Congratulations to Hunter Johnson and that number 12 right alongside of him. That'll be the number 44. Liam Sheen will start second.
And in row 2, we've got the 77 of Corey H. Hartz, the GTE champion, or GT3 rather, and Aaron Mulrooney in the 2.
Lining up row number 3 will be the 57 of Blaze McKinney, starting in 5th, and alongside him on the outside will be the 61 of Hunter Rowe.
Christopher Pollo and that number 35 is going to be starting in 7th place. Glad to see him out on the racetrack. Number 41, Christopher Well, your open wheel champion, is going to be starting in 8th place.
And rounding out your top 10, the 59 of Ryan Berry and the 7 of Charlie Byer. Rest of the order will be shown on the bottom of your screen. Pick a driver, hope he wins, whatever you want with the order, but it's there, so you know who's where.
That rhymes.
Joe Bergie in the 83. Notable mid-pack start for him. Hopefully he can make his way up to the front.
Might as well go over picks right now. Who do you think is going to come out up top here for tonight?
I'm going to take the pole sitter, Hunter O. Johnson. He's always a threat whenever he shows up to iSCAR. Doesn't race as much as he used to, but always one of the best drivers in the field when he does. And I think the pole sitter is going to stay there at the end.
Well, I have a kind of a bolder pick near a couple rows back. I know I'm not really good with picks because every time I seem to pick somebody, they seem to get into trouble every single time. So I'm terrible with it. But if we're going down to picks, I think I'm going to go with the 57 of Blaze McKinney. We've watched him in the Bungeon Series. I've watched him in the Bungeon Series, and he did really well at this track. I think it's going to be no different tonight. He's going to take a charge. He's going to end up with the checker flag tonight.
For me, I'll go with that number 2 of Aaron Mulrooney. Picked up multiple wins last season. I think that 2 will pick off where he left off with that momentum. And that 2 will come out up top in victory lane here for tonight. Man, those are all strong drivers. All of our picks are within that top 5 range. So excited to see on how our predicaments will show here for tonight. And if you're not just joining us, we welcome here live for the iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Tour iSCAR at Iowa, round number 1 here, of course, at the Iowa Speedway. And man, I'm really excited to get this race in because this is the first time I've really seen a big field here at Streets with the Street Stock at Iowa. Should be in for a good race.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, especially that KBRN is the sponsor. I'm happy to sponsor this for Season 10, so hopefully this season will start off with a bang, and these guys are going to come off turn 4, and the green flag will fly very soon. Zeke, I'll give it to you.
Yep, I have to take one more pace lap, I think.
Oh,
because,
okay.
Yeah.
We're too eager.
We jumped the gun on that one.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
At least we're not Marty Reed at Kentucky.
White flag, 5 laps to go.
Well, not that bad, but was a lap short. But yeah, Kenneth mentioned it. Of course, he is the title sponsor for this series. So thank you very much to Kenneth for paying us to have his naming rights, I guess. But, you know, that'll go towards the championship funds, of course, at the end of this summer series. So it'll make its way back around. Basically a tax, but hey, it's cool. Because whoever wins this race will be well on their way to potentially competing for a Street Stock Championship and some cold hard cash. So thank you, Kenneth, for contributing to that fund.
All right, we're doubling up here for the first green flag of this season. If you're now just joining us here live, MSTV is broadcasting the street stocks at Iowa as the pace car slides itself on a pit road. Hunter Johnson, the number 12, has been a street stock champion multiple times. Will lead the green here at Iowa, and we're up and away here for 80 laps.
They're going to fan out right here into turn 1, almost like Pocono. They might go 3-4 wide towards the back, but looks like Hunter already leading into turn 1 as Christopher Wilde did not get a good restart, and he's already lost 3 or 4 spots up on that outside.
Yeah, here's the drivers making some moves. Blaze McKinney is one of those guys. He's going all the way down 3 wide with the 77 of Corey Hartz and Aaron Mulrooney. They kind of come around together, and these drivers are eager to get those positions very early in the run.
Yeah, on this restart, of course, everybody gets bunched up 2 by 2 as they work themselves into one. Got a spinner! Around goes Hunter up! And we'll pile up at least 3 or 4 drivers, maybe even more as, man.
Here's Lathan Joyner. Joe Burgee down on the bottom. Colton White's in there. Charlie Byer in there. A lot of good cars involved in that one as we'll take a look at what brought out this very early yellow.
Yeah, man, Kiloa. There was multiple wrecks going on at once, and you see all these drivers nowhere to go on the apron. But we can just go ahead and rewind a bit more. But I think the first car who was sideways might have been the 72 Kiloa Hankins. Not really sure, but looks like 3 wide action and the number 59. Don't know who that is.
59's Ryan Barry, I believe, but I think Kiloa might have just drove in a bit too deep. But in front of them, Hunter Rupp went around right there with Corey H. Hartz, and Charlie couldn't get it slowed down in time. So this is basically 2 or 3 wrecks that just combined into one much bigger one. Yeah, there, Hunter and Kiloa both went around the same time, and I think Charlie may have gotten the worst of that exchange.
Yeah, Hunter Rupp seemed to be the chain reaction. And kind of the chain reaction started to that one, and then a bunch of drivers just got around behind him. It seemed as though they were going 3 wide. They were already picking up positions, and drivers going 2-3 wide, trying to fan out across each other and gain those positions early, but it seemed as though it didn't work out too well for the 61. And those guys behind them, they're going to have to get their damage repaired, but still early in the race, so still a long way to go. They can pick this up.
Yeah, especially with these street stock bodies. These things, we mentioned it a lot of times, these things are like tanks. You could take a hard lick and still continue on with full power, but with, man, some of those hits, those are really, really hard hits, especially with Kiloa Hankins slapping right into the outside wall, getting nailed by multiple drivers. His steering's going to be off, but luckily, he'll most likely continue on. He actually didn't pit, so that 72 is staying out on the racetrack. Gonna go take a gamble here, and you see that left front I was just mentioning about how damaged his machine is.
Yeah, it looks like Colton White's in the 33 taking extended repairs on pit road, unfortunately, but yeah, it's a good thing this is iRacing and not in real life, because in real life, if you had damage like that, the fender would probably bend in and cut the tire, and you go around again. Of course, we see that quite a bit, especially at short tracks like Martinsville, but hopefully that, it's a non-issue here, so hopefully they'll be able to continue on as we see the 83 make his way off of pit lane.
So top 3 displayed on the top of your board. And number 12, Hunter Johnson. Liam Sheen was actually staying fairly close with that number 12 on that first green flag, and the number 2 of Aaron Mulrooney. Now on Evo/SPG. Glad to see him out on the racetrack. He too making a very ambiguous switch. So glad to see him on a different team, and hopefully he'll do better with them.
Yeah, of course, Aaron on proximity for a while, but now on SPG, so perhaps with a new team, we'll have newfound luck or talent on the racetrack, I guess, but already off to a good start in the top 3 as the pace lights will go off here. So Johnson, Sheen, Mulrooney, McKinney, and Christopher Pollo in the 35 made his way up into the top 5, and those will be your leaders here for the restart.
Yeah, Dewey, you mentioned the SPG merger with Evo SimSport, and that really broadens the kind of spectrum when it comes down to that team. That team is very talented, like Aaron Mulrooney. Those guys are widely talented when it comes to that, and I feel like with that Evo SimSport merge, it's going to help a lot more things when it comes down to driver communication and really getting a lot of different opinions when it comes down to setups and stuff like that. And Aaron Mulrooney's looking strong. He's down on the bottom of row 2. He'll start the green flag there. He's in a good spot.
I'm excited to see how that team does on the Super Speedway Series because they've got a lot more teammates to work with now than they did last season, as the pace car will slide itself down on the pit road here. Hunter O. Johnson will step on the gas, and we are back green here at Iowa.
Green flag.
Yep, green flag is out, and Sheen right down to the bottom side of the racetrack, clearing that number 2 of Aaron Mulrooney, and they'll use the bottom 2 advantage as they go into 1, but Hunter Johnson with a good start. He pulls by 2 car lengths.
McKinney's trying to make... Oh, McKinney may have gotten to the back of Liam Sheen right there in the middle of the turn, but that might be able to work here into turn 3, so they'll be side by side. As we got a caution out once again, and that might be Kilo Hankins once again.
Yeah, Kilo Hankins around on the racetrack. We're going to take a replay and see exactly what happened there. It seemed to happen in the back of the field. Doesn't look like it involved too many cars. I think we'll just take another look. Yeah, it gets to the bottom of Charlie Byer. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he ran into the back of Charlie, but I think Charlie had gotten into the back of somebody else. It's the 05. It's at KP Windsor, I believe.
Or 4 wide heading into 1, and of course Kilo just trying to get as much real estate as he can.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, I think KP may have checked up or just let off a bit earlier, and Charlie didn't expect that, and Kilo just ran right into him and went around. So, unfortunately, a rough start to the night and for the season for that 72, but still a long way to go to right that ship.
Yep. Statistics shown on the bottom right of your screen. Number 72, I was about to say Kilo Hankins. 72 to go. That's his number. Currently 2 caution laps. 2 caution laps. Oh my gosh, I can't commentate right now. I am doing horrible. But all the statistics being displayed on the bottom right. Not gonna name them off because I'll screw them up somehow. But yeah, thank you, Dewey.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could help.
Your pick is up there.
I understand. See Nick Miller, I believe, getting the wave around there, so he'll get his lap back. So that'll put 33 cars on the lead lap out of the 35 that started. As he had a little bit of extended repairs as he got caught up in that first incident. So we'll have to see how he recovers from that.
You mentioned about your pick, Kenneth. He's up there in 3rd already. He made a really nice move off of 2 before that caution came out. There's Blaze right there singing 3rd.
Yeah, I really liked that pick. I was considering picking him, but then I'm like, you know what? What if Kenneth picks him and then I didn't?
Well, we'll just see what happens because every time I pick somebody, it always seems to end the wrong way. So I hope this isn't the case and this could be the right time, but we'll just see what happens. But I wanted to talk to you guys about like the strategy. There's 80 laps here. It's a pretty long race, and I know with these 2 cautions, we really haven't seen what the long run strategy can do to these cars. And I'm really intrigued to see how that really works because these guys, once they fan out, if we can get a longer green flag run, that'll really play into the strategy here at Iowa, especially since these guys are going almost full throttle all the way around. It's a pretty large track, so I'm pretty interested to see how that kind of goes into the race.
I think tire conservation is going to be a key part of tonight because this place can eat up tires. So if we do get a longer green flag run during the course of the race, if there's some guys that can manage to save their tires more than other people, they might be factors later on as the race winds itself down. But I'm not sure what the fuel situation's looking like. I don't know if we're at 100% or what, but if we're not, we'll have to see how that plays out too.
Yeah, fuel's at 100%, but you mentioned here on how tires just get chewed up here at the Iowa Speedway. Usually in a street stock race, you'd see people come in halfway, most likely to run on that set of tires all the way to the end from lap 40 to 80, but on the official side of iRacing, they don't even run any tire sets because you have short enough races in which you could run with one set that whole entire way, which is usually around 60-65 laps. But yeah, I'm expecting people to pit halfway if a caution is out at that time. But we'll have to see though, because track position is key here, and maybe some drivers are going to stay out, take that track position, put it up there toward that top 5, but we'll have to see though.
Yeah, we've seen
Tyrcon,
iSCAR races in the past where, you know, specifically super late model races and street stock races where guys have made it the whole race without pitting. But I just don't know if that's feasible here at a track like Iowa. But hey, we've got 68 laps to figure out if that happens or not, and I'm pretty excited to see what we've got upcoming.
Tire conservation is key, and if you watched here on MaxspeedTV, the WARC Street Stock finale at USA, strategy really played a huge factor in how that race turned out. Of course, the caution came out, so that could have kind of reset everything. But in terms of this race, we'll see exactly what goes down with those tires. And the pace car will come off pit road, and we'll take the green flag this time. Hunter Johnson, Liam Sheen leads them to green here at Iowa.
Green flag.
Back up and away. Through the gears they go. And it looks like Sheen can't drop down in front of Blaze McKinney. So Blaze moved that 57 from 5th to 3rd. Maybe even 2nd place as he drives it to the bottom side of the racetrack. He clips the apron, gets a bit loose. He wheels it nicely, though, to keep it in position. Hard wreck right behind us. One car's on his roof.
Goodness.
Huge wreck.
Harry Grindle's on his roof. He flipped over a couple times there. A bunch of drivers involved. He's still over 50.
That's Dominic Howe that ran into him.
Wow.
Man, that's the 2nd time in 3 street stock races that Harry Grindle has been on his roof. Of course, he flipped last season at Thompson just a few weeks ago, so Harry has not had a good time in street stocks lately. Oh!
Wow.
So it looks like Allison just got loose and overcorrected and just went right up into that number 70, and Dominic Howe just plows right into him, and that might end the 58 tonight. But you'll see right here into turn 1, Allison got loose on the bottom and his car just snapped right here, right up into the path of the 70.
Well, that kind of looked like the Phoenix wreck with Keelan Belsha turn 2 at Phoenix last season. That was something reminiscent where the driver just gets loose under and then overcorrects right into Harry Grindle in a tough situation for him. He goes around, flips over a couple times. I think I saw a couple other drivers involved in there as well. I think the 11 of Matthew Klein went around. I think the 89 Mitch Hobbs also in there as well. So huge wreck, lap 13. Another huge pileup.
Yeah, Klein went around in the back, and I think there were a couple other cars. The 47 in there as well. I forget who that is, unfortunately, but I think that's JJ Hill. And he got a piece of that as well. So there's the big wreck that we get at street stocks. It's pretty. I mean, there's pretty much as much of a guarantee of a big one in a street stock race as there is at a super speedway race, and we have met that quota here tonight.
Oh.
And it didn't take us very long to get it.
Well, heck, we're not even halfway through the race. We're only working on lap number 15 out of 80. Still about plus 30 minutes to go in tonight's race, not including cautions. So, for that number 12, Hunter Johnson, it'll play to his advantage because maybe you won't have to pit. You could stay out on those tires that whole way if these cautions just play to his favor, because long run is going to eat up those tires. Again, bringing up strategy, like Kenneth said, pitting halfway might be the go. Either pit halfway or you stay out with track position, but we'll have to see how the 12 will handle that once we come to that lap 40 mark.
And just a bit of a correction also, Jeremiah Bethune was the car that hit Harry Grindle, not Dominic Howe. My apologies on that. Dominic currently in 6th place, so he's having a pretty good run tonight, but that 50 car, on the other hand, not so much.
I think you guys kind of hit it on the nail in terms of what we were going to see tonight, the pack racing and guys keeping themselves close proximity, tight pack racing. And of course, these cautions are pretty much a product of what we've seen. And I think we got it right on point when it came down to that. And we're definitely going to be seeing that more on as soon as the race continues to progress. I'm hoping to see a longer run and see how these guys really function around each other. But so far, it's pretty much what we've seen, the pack racing.
You mentioned proximity. You're sitting up in 1st place. Proximity racing up there, and with that number 12 of Hunter Johnson, and he's sitting up in 1st. They field multiple cars in iSCAR. One of them also in 6th place. We mentioned Dominic Howe in that number 58. He's also on proximity. I don't know if Ryan Berry is on proximity. I'll have to check again, but I think they're the only 3-4 proximity guys here tonight. Oh, no, actually, Michael Bianchini is in for... He's currently on pit road, but he's also on proximity as well, I think. But yeah, a lot of proximity cars in here for tonight's 35-car field.
Yeah, Proximity and PPM, the two biggest teams in iSCAR. I think Proximity's got like 12 or something like that drivers here. I think PPM is around 8 to 10. So, of course, there's a good amount of teams in this league, but those two by far, the biggest of those is Hunter O. Johnson, of course, one of the longest tenured members of Proximity Racing, has led every lap there has been so far, and he'll be taking us back to the green flag momentarily.
So just an update about what's happened with the field right now. We're just shrunk to about 30 cars on the lead lap. Harry Grindle is the first driver a lap down. He's 2 laps down, and Noah Allison has disconnected, so his race will be done. And we'll take the green flag right now. 30 cars on lead lap, still a lot of drivers left.
Yep, and we're not yet halfway. Gonna work on lap 19 once we get the green flag. Pace cars in. Number 12, Hunter Johnson will lead it to the green.
Green's out. Green flag. Green flag.
Looks like Sheen's going to try again. Oh, I think he might have gotten to the back of Hunter right there. But that's going to help Blaze McKinney as he might take second. Oh, he's going to get in the back of him. But holds on. Blaze is doing everything he can to get up to the lead. Might be a bit too impatient here.
Drivers are loose everywhere. Now they're 2 by 2, a couple rows deep. That's Hunter Johnson under the 44. He still can't quite there. 44, it's hugely loose.
No.
Oh, boy.
Nice.
What a save by him. I'm surprised he kept that together, but that fanned him out with all of the drivers behind. They're going to try to play pickup as Blaze McKinney dives to the bottom of Aaron Mulrooney, and these guys are battling as they come out of 2.
Yeah, it's a lot of side-by-side action, and with these colder tires, they really haven't gotten a lap on these tires yet, and now since they're up to speed and such, you'll see a lot of cars start to slide in and around. You saw with the number 44, Liam Sheen, earlier, car on the wall. I think that's Latham Joyner, but in the meantime, Hunter Johnson is pulling away. They're side-by-side for second, though, as Blaze is trying to get second away from Mulrooney. Blah.
It's Christopher Weil on the bottom. And McKinney washes up the track big time. He's going to block Mulrooney down at the bottom, and he'll hold on.
No!
Oh, no! Christopher Weil far into the outside wall, and there might be more. There's a couple other cars involved in that, but Christopher Weil got sent right up the track into the outside wall. There's Garrett Hess in the 86. But Christopher Weil was just in 3rd place, and now he's in the outside wall.
Those guys were not giving an inch at all when it came down to those handful of laps. And I think that we're going 3 wide into turn 3. We'll see what happened. Yeah, it just gets into the 59.
I think Barry may have come down on him a little bit. There's Garrett Hess spinning to avoid him. But yeah, if you'll see right here, I think Barry and Chris just both went for the same real estate. Dominic Howe with a piece of that as well. Fortunately, all the people behind these guys missed it, because that would have, in the middle of the turn, that could have been a huge wreck. Like one you see at Richmond sometimes.
Yeah, not a lot of apron room to dodge, but luckily the way Christopher rebounded, there was no cars in the way of that, but Garrett Hess in the 86 went spinning because of it. As he tried to avoid, we're gonna get an onboard to that number 86 as tried to woe it down, but unfortunately the rear end broke loose from it, and around he went.
He didn't hit the wall that hard. I think he'll be okay, but unfortunately for Christopher, his whole front end's gone, so that will probably put a damper on his efforts to win the race. But out of all that, Blaze McKinney managed to hold on to 2nd place.
Yeah, can we talk about that save from Liam Sheen? Oh my goodness, that was an incredible save. They were almost 3 wide, and those guys were racing hard in those handful of laps, and I'm surprised Liam kept that together. He didn't lose too many positions out of that. I believe he's still 4th, so he didn't lose too much ground from that. I thought he would lose a little bit more, considering that those drivers were all so close together, but that caution kind of helped things out, and he's still in 4th. He's still got a shot, but what a save. He had to wheel that thing.
Yeah, there's Chris. Unfortunately, his front end gone from that 41 machine, so hopefully he doesn't have too long of a repair period, but I'm sure he'll definitely have some. But yeah, there it is again, and similar to what happened to Noah Allison, where he got, there was contact here, but he was starting to spin down to the bottom, and the car just snapped right up the hill into the wall. So that seems to be a common theme here tonight, where if you get loose on the bottom, there's a pretty good chance you're going to go flying up the track.
Now with Sheen's slip up, he pulls himself back all the way to 4th place, but still within the top 5 right now.
Andy McDowell into the top 10 for the first time tonight. He's up in 6th now. Ryan Berry still in 7th, and after being involved in that first wreck, Latham Joyner's gotten himself up into the top 10, so good recovery for that 36 car so far as he tries to get, I believe, his first iSCAR top 5.
Charlie Byer also sneaking into the top 10 as well. He was in that first incident with Keloy Hankins, and I think before that he also got a piece of what happened on the first caution. Then with Keloy Hankins, I don't think he really suffered too much. But right now he's just inside of the top 10 with Latham Joyner, and they're gonna file that row when it comes down to the green flag. So still a lot of drivers in this top 10, especially what we've seen early. I think this top 10 is going to continue to shake up.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, again, I'm just going to keep mentioning this point. We're not yet halfway. Once we get halfway, I think the picture will become more clear as these drivers, obviously more of them will get eliminated and such, but Hunter Johnson still keeping himself up front as of right now. And as a leader, you get a lot of advantages, as I am commentating horribly right now. Apologies about that, but for Hunter Johnson, being the leader is really, really key here at Iowa. Track position means a lot, and for that 12 to keep himself up front, really, really beneficial.
Well, we've let him all so far, so he's doing a pretty good job of that. Yeah, we're a bit rusty. I mean, our most recent race was, a crapshoot at Monza Oval, so we gotta get back into the swing of things. But I guess you can bear with us. But we're glad to be back. I'm pretty excited for this series. Of course, Benjamin did the Street Stock series last season, so I'm glad I'm up here for this, and I hope we can give you as good of a show up in the booth as the drivers will on the track. Hunter Johnson, Blaze McKinney, Aaron Mulrooney, Liam Sheen, and Dominic Howell, the top 5 here for restart number 5. Something like that?
Yeah, around there. iSCAR scoots itself on in, sort of merging with the 12 as it scooted itself left. Green flag is out, and I mentioned it. Hunter Johnson with a big jump right there as they go up through the gears. 3 wide action as Blaze gets shoved up the racetrack. We'll see on where he's going to shuffle out.
That's 3 wide between PPM teammates, I believe, here in the middle of turn 2. McDowell, Sheen, and McKinney, they're going to sort themselves out a little bit, but Aaron Mulrooney, trying as McKinney really sends into the corner, and he's going to get himself second place by doing that.
And all these battles are really allowing Hunter Johnson to expand the lead. Yeah, 59 in the wall as well. A bit of contact between those drivers. That's the 36 of Latham Joyner. He got a piece of that as well. They're 3 wide. Now coming to 2 wide, coming off of turn 2. These guys are still battling. Look at Aaron Mulrooney down at the bottom.
Yeah, Mulrooney has a pusher of that number 56 of Dominic Howell. You don't want to push him into the 20 of McDowell, but they go. They're still side by side as the 44 Sheen will get clear of that mess. Look at 3 wide now as the 58 will go to the low side.
I think Dominic's going to have a shot here. He'll have the preferred inside here into turn number 1, as Mulrooney will be the short end of that stick here as he'll drop 2 spots back to 6th place. And here comes Liam Sheen trying to get 2nd place back from Blaze McKinney, but can't quite get the nose under to turn 3.
Yeah, I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, these lanes are diverse here at Iowa. We've seen that outside line, that half a groove higher than that yellow line. It's working for some of these drivers as they're trying to fend off the guys on the bottom. 2 PPM drivers fighting for, I believe, 3rd place. As we got a bunch of contact behind them. Still a bunch of drivers washing up the track. Hunter Johnson still hasn't expanded on his lead. They're still all together.
There's Andy McDowell going into turn 3. That is for 3rd place under his new teammate, Liam Sheen.
Oh, got a wreck in the back! Oh!
Oh my goodness.
Bergie goes up and over and lands on top of Mitch Hobbs. And
oh
on
my
top
gosh!
of Casey Windsor, and on top of Christopher Pollo. Joe Bergie's everywhere.
Poor Bergie.
That was so bizarre.
It almost looked like his car just randomly glitched up in the air out of nowhere. That was weird.
Fortunate for him, he's going to get eliminated with that big wreck. And haven't
I'm
mentioned
actually
it yet.
happy
That number
that was
83's
weird.
luck.
I don't know
is
if it was the
horrendous.
car on the apron, or I don't know if the car on the apron had anything to do with this, but
Oh,
oh
wow.
no, it didn't. Pollo and Barry, and Burgie, nothing he could do. What the?
Yeah. Oh
That's
my goodness.
bizarre. And they just keep piling in there. There's Jonathan Jones in the 06, Colton Lights, who spent a while on pit road. They'll have to spend another long while on pit road. Pollo in the 35, but looks like this started around Ryan Barry and Christopher Pollo. We'll have to get another look at that.
Yeah, those Mobile 1 racing cars, they were trying to work themselves to the bottom to try and get away from the incident. And it seems as though Joe Berge was just flying on top of them by the time they reached that point. Look at him right over the top of both of them. They both end up together. I think one of the drivers, the 06 didn't get too much damage from that, but a tough break for those Mobile 1. Yeah, it was tough out there.
Yeah, hopefully Mitch Hobbs didn't get anything out of that, but Garrett Hess, Scott Yost, Corey H. Hartz was the one that got into Burgie, so that's our second big crash of the night, so that's going to definitely take a couple more people out of tonight's event. Yeah, that was a pretty... I mean, we're seeing wrecks here tonight like you'd usually see at Richmond. Of course, I mean, in terms of the way the track layout is, I compare Iowa to just a wider Richmond. And of course, you see it quite a bit in the Cup Series, where if somebody gets spun into that inside wall going into turn 3, you're going to collect a lot of cars, and we just saw something pretty similar right there.
Unfortunately, Berge, he's done for. Corey H. Hartz in the number 77, he looks to be out of it. Colton Lights, he too disconnected from the session. Christopher Wheel, of course, involved in a wreck a couple cautions ago. They're racing really, really hard up there. A lot of those drivers making a lot of contact, especially around where Ryan Barry was. Unfortunate for Barry, he too was involved in that wreck, but luckily he just spun around. I know he hit the outside wall, but he'll continue on with the race. But man, Barry's been tossed around here for tonight, and by the looks of it, he already has 10x in tonight's race, and we're not even halfway.
Yeah, that's something else these guys have to be aware of as this race goes on. Of course, in iSCAR, reaching 17x results in a pass-through penalty, and a 22x results in a disqualification. So even if you don't actually end up in a crash, if you do hit the wall or go off track or make contact with other cars too much, it can still be detrimental to your race. So for someone like Ryan Barry, who's already been in a couple incidents and up to 10x already, he's got to be a bit more careful in how he races now, because even if he wants to maybe bump and run towards the latter part of the race, if he has too many incident points, he may not be able to.
Well, if you remember that I mentioned that there were 30 cars on the lead lap a while back, now it's shrunk down to just 24. So attrition really playing a factor right now at Iowa Speedway here for the KBRN Street Stock Series. But iSCAR isn't done for the week. If you want to tune in to the rest of the couple of weeks, we got a bunch of series picking themselves up. That's the Tolsma Designs Modified Tour, the TSP IndyCar Series, and the Corey Hart's Media Super Speedway Challenge, as well as the Yost Auto Sales Legend Series. So those are going to be picking up through the rest of the week on to the end of the weekend. So if you want to catch more iSCAR action here on MaxspeedTV, don't look further than here in iSCAR, because it's going to be a lot of fun. We're picking up a lot of series. It's going to be intense.
Yep, 1 lap to go left until we go back racing here at Iowa. I'm going to double up yet again. My couple cars making contact there. Andy McDowell and Dominic Howe, he's sort of screwing around with each other. Hopefully don't screw around under green flag conditions. Hopefully they work together and themselves toward the front, in front of that number 12 of Hunter Johnson, who has led every single lap ever since the drop of the first green flag. So that 12 is looking really, really strong as right now.
Oh, here we go. Another restart on lap number 36. And we're just about reaching halfway through the race. We've already had calamity happen within this first half, and we'll see if that translates into the second half. It'll be Hunter, Johnson, Blaze McKinney. They'll lead the field to green among the PPM drivers. And the Prox guy up in front. Green flag is back out.
Green flag.
Yep, and we're up and away as Blaze, if he's cleared down to the bottom, will scoot himself in front of that number 44. Looks like he won't. Elects to stay to the high side because the 44 Sheen is there. Side by side for second place. Sheen gets a bit loose, catches the car right up off the corner, but the 57 of Blaze is going to be clear for that second place, and he's going to gun for that number 12 here in this coming lap, as they're still side by side for third now.
Yeah, Andy McDowell has had a really good night so far. Made himself up into the top 10 after those first couple of incidents, and he's now, I think, third on the high side, so we can try to get maybe third place right here if he can try and work his way around his teammate here out of turn number 2. Dominic Howe with a pretty solid night as well. He's right up in that mix as well. And Latham Joyner up in 6th place. He's had a really quietly good night after being involved in that first wreck.
Well, here's a battle for the race lead. There goes Blaze McKinney to the bottom of the 12. Hunter Johnson, his PPM teammates, will follow behind. And I was looking at the drivers in this pack, and if anyone's more hungry to get positions right now, that is the 58 of Dominic Howe. He has been itching to get to that top 5, and he's worked himself to the outside. He's now under pressure from the 36 of Latham Joyner and a handful of drivers, including Aaron Mulrooney, but still the battle for the lead persists as we come off turn 4.
Oh, man, the 58 wanted to squeeze it 3 wide. No room there. Contact's made in the back. And there they go.
Oh, there they go. That's going to take a good amount of cars around. Hopefully nobody else hits them, because that's prime track position for someone to ram into them, and it looks like nobody else does. But as we hit the halfway point, and we'll have another restart here coming up.
Oh,
I think I just jinxed that just a little bit when I was mentioning Dominic Howe. As soon as I mention him, he goes around on the front straightaway. Oh,
it's
boy.
unfortunate for Latham Joyner. He had just gotten himself up near that top 5 after that first wreck, but unfortunately he gets caught up in this one, and him and Mulrooney go spinning down to the inside. But I think there was some net code here, as Liam's car just randomly jerked like that. There was definitely some net code there, as Liam and Dominic go up into the outside wall, and Aaron and Latham go to the inside. And it looks like those are the only 4 cars that were involved in this. Nice avoidance there by Charlie Byer, threading the needle, too.
Getting on board with that number 7 of Charlie as we work into turn number 3. 2x2 action as he's blinking in and out. There he is. And yeah, you mentioned it. Might have been netcode. And swoop! Wow.
And he's in 4th place now because of that, so
Yeah.
now he's up into the top 5, and another guy up in that top 5. How about the 49 of Sartaj Maan? We have not talked about him at all so far tonight. We've talked a lot about his PPM teammates, but shout out to him for getting himself up in that mix, and JJ Hill up in the 47 car. He's up into this top 10 as well.
Yeah, not only that, that number 49 of Sartaj, he has fresher tires than that whole top 4. Pitted 31 laps ago. And JJ as well, so these people, not only do they have track position, they have some key fresh tires here. As you see one of those drivers take a wave around, that's number 70, Perry Perindle, who's sort of boxed in. But but yeah, fresher tires.
Giving that lap.
Fresher
If you look at that overlay, Ryan Berry, Christopher Poyo are pitted 9 laps ago, and they're just right inside of the top 10, 8th and 10th right now. So those guys have the freshest tires, and I think they'll probably use that to their advantage as far as the restart goes. And looking back at the wreck, it looked like Dominic Howe almost had the car completely saved, but I think the lack of space really got to him, and that's what really sent him around there into those drivers. Tough wreck for 58, but he's still in it, so he's still got some work to cut out for him right now, but he can still pick his way up. They're still not too damaged, so they'll be on the lead lap. See him down pit road, currently 21st, I believe, getting the damage fixed. So,
yeah, good job by Chris Warner in the 73 as well. He's on the same tire strategy as those top 4 are. He has not pit so far, but he's managed to get himself up in the top 10. So I'm sure he'll get passed pretty quickly by Poyo, who's on about 30 lap fresher tires. But another one of those guys we haven't really talked about so far tonight, currently making some noise up in that top 10.
Yep. Started himself all the way back in 25th. Of course, 42 laps since he's hit pit road, has ran the whole race on that set of tires. But I'm surprised that number 12, Hunter Johnson, has kept Blaze right behind. That number 57 was side by side right up to the front straightaway when the caution came out, but he did not retain the lead. That number 57, I don't think he led a lap. No, he didn't.
Yeah, Hunter still led them all. I mean, Blaze has come really close a couple times, but I'll be truthful with you. I think it's a matter of time before Blaze manages to get around him, and I hope I don't jinx him, but I think Blaze is gonna. I think he's got something for Hunter, and I think we'll be able to see what it is pretty shortly.
I think as long as I don't say it, we're fine. So.
Yeah. No, noted.
Yeah, but Blaze McKinney currently in a good spot right now, and I'm surprised he hasn't led a lap just yet. And we saw him put the battle up to the 12 on the inside, but he just couldn't get to him. And I think the battle was still going on when that yellow came out, so it kind of hindered the 57 shot right now. He starts on the outside. He can still get a good run, but it all just depends on how this restart ends up and how that 12 really handles it.
I think Andy McDowell is going to have something for these top two as well. I mean, I think this is the first time he's restarted on the bottom, of course, in third place. So if Andy gets a much better restart than Hunter does, I'm curious to see if he can try to make a 3-wide move into turn 1 or maybe do a bump and run or do something, because Andy's definitely hungry for that lead.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And man, I said wow because look at where he started, all the way back in 31st. And he's rummaged himself all the way to the top 3. That is one heck of a run for that number 20. But he's yet to seal the deal. That number 20 of Andy McDowell is yet to be in victory lane here in iSCAR. Maybe today's a really, really good day for that number 20 to be in victory lane.
Yeah, and Andy's had some of the most well-known wrecks in iSCAR history, and for him to be in victory lane would be something pretty cool to see. Of course, everybody remembers the truck flip he was in at Dover, but hopefully he's got better days coming to him here as the pace car will slide itself down pit road here and not meet the commitment cone for some reason, because it always does that. We are back green here in Iowa.
Now side by side for that second position as Andy, of course, starting in third. He's on the inside of Blaze McKinney.
Here he comes.
Right to the low side he goes. Charlie didn't get it. Charlie got a better restart in fourth place, slotted himself behind the 20. We'll see if Charlie will push the 20 down the back straightaway. Car around in the background. Will not throw a caution though, but they're still side by side for second.
Still side by side between the 20 of Andy McDowell and the 57 of Blaze McKinney. Guys getting loose all up off of turn 4. But if these guys can tangle up, that allows that 7 of Charlie By to really peek into this top 3 for the first time tonight. He's ran a consistent race. He got through the wrecks. Now he's looking into third as these guys continue to be side by side. But I think if you're Hunter Johnson, you're kind of smiling seeing those two battling as he's going to continue to grow the gap.
I'm a bit surprised that these top 4 are still running so good on the older tires, because a lot of the guys in the top 10 hit a lot more recently than these guys did, as we got one car in the wall out of turn 4. I believe that's JJ Hill. And already Aaron Mulrooney back into the top 10 after just spinning in that last caution. So Aaron wasting no time at all, making his way back up towards the front, and Liam Sheen's back up in there as well.
Now everybody's trying to get into a rhythm as, look at that, all the way to the high side. The number 20 of Andy McDowell being ambiguous with that third lane. He might get a run off the corner, side by side. Oh man, near contact there as Hunter just about clipped the wall and to the low side. First time tonight, the 57 will go to the front.
He made the first mistake he's ever made all night in that in the race lead, and they almost get loose out of turn 2. But now the battle continues between the 12 of Hunter Johnson. Andy McDowell will now peek to the low side. Oh my goodness, they're all together. No! Around. They saved it.
Wow. That was amazing. There's the 12 is still up front. Oh man.
Up in this mix now.
Oh, Hunter washed up again. He washed right in front of the 57. The caution comes out though.
Oh my goodness. What an end to that run. That was so fun to watch. Yeah, JJ Hill around, and I believe that's turn 2. Just on the exit of turn 2, he's around stopped. He's going to get it refired. He's going to come back on the racetrack, and we'll take a replay as we were focusing what was happening out front. Looks like Kiloa gets turned. Gets a little context. He's able to save it, but the 47 does not have the same fate. He goes around and stops it in the middle of the track. Luckily, everyone was able to get around him, so no significant damage for a bunch of other drivers there. That could have been bigger, but glad that it wasn't just involved a handful of cars. But Oh my goodness. What a battle we saw up front, guys. Oh my goodness.
Right,
It's a good
man.
job by JJ to keep that car out of the wall after being spun out, but I think these older tires are finally starting to play against these top 4 guys, and I think we might see some pit stops right here, because Hunter was washing up a lot on that last run, but looks like he's still going to stay out.
Yeah, again, the leader has a lot of advantages, track position, of course, being one of those. I think that 12 has to retain himself with just one set of tires. But man, he's going to have a handful, I mean, a mirror full of that number 57 of Blaze, who is putting a ton of pressure on him that last round, of course. And you saw here live on MaxspeedTV, that was one heck of a battle. But man, I cannot, what's more unbelievable than that is the 1200 Johnson is still, he's still up front. I think Blaze led at least one lap. No, he hasn't.
Hunter still led all of them.
Right, wow. That's impressive.
And you mentioned how the tires and the tire wear are starting to affect these guys, and you really saw that happen. A prime example of that was that 12 going into the outside wall. That was his first mistake all night. That cost him the race lead shortly. He was able to pick it back up, though, and regain the position just to lead all the laps so far, and the 57 wasn't able to get that. But now that these tires are starting to affect these guys at the top of the field, the guys a little bit farther back are going to start to kind of feel the effects of their tire strategy. More importantly, guys like Ryan Barry, some of the guys like Sartaj Mann, you see the pit panel 42 laps ago as compared to the rest of them 52, as they have not pitted tonight. Garrett Hess, Ryan Barry, Aaron Maroney, Liam Sheen, those guys also pitted. They have not pitted tonight. William Schmidt is the last guy in the top 10. He pitted just 19 laps ago. So guys, we could be seeing a lot of tire strategy going on, and if these guys stay out for the rest of the race, it could be interesting to see how they manage those race cars.
Hey, William Schmidt's won an iSCAR at Iowa before.
That's right.
Just to refresh that, so William definitely knows his way around this racetrack, so he's got the freshest tires of anybody in this top 10 after Garrett Hess and Ryan Barry, so we'll have to see what this 79 can do on this restart, because he's got about 30 lap fresher tires and almost everybody in front of him.
Yeah, We're coming down to closing time. But man, I said the picture would become more clear once we come up on that halfway point. Man, we still have a lot of people in contention for this win. Of course, Hunter Johnson being one of those people, Blaze McKinney, another, Charlie Byer, Andy McDowell. Honestly, for Andy, and I'm excited for that number 20 to see on how he'll be in for this green flag run. At number 20 right now, sitting in 4th, started in 31st. I haven't mentioned that number 86 of Garrett Hess. Hess, I don't even know where he started. Looks like 23rd. Currently up in there in the top 6 as of right now, so watch out for that 86 once we take the green flag.
I got to keep an eye on that too of Mulrooney. Of course, he spun in 2 incidents ago, but he's right back up in that top 10 again. Of course, he's on the same tires as the rest, almost everybody else in the top 10, but he's had one of the strongest cars all night, so he's definitely got a shot here.
Yeah, Dewey, I was just about to mention that Aaron Mulrooney went around with Dominic Howe earlier in the running, and now he's back up to the top 10. Unfortunately, Dominic Howe still hasn't seen the light of day just yet. He's in 23rd currently as they stand. We'll get the 1 to green signal by the iRacing pace car. See Dominic Howe on 23rd right now. He put it 3 laps ago, so he hasn't really picked it up just yet, but the race is still far from over considering the fact that we've had all these yellows. So he's still got some ground to make up, and he has the opportunity to do so as you look at the race summary. Lap 53, we have 27 laps remaining, 7 cautions tonight, 35 laps under the yellow flag. But now we're going to take the green flag, so we'll just see what happens between these top 4.
Yeah, we've had almost double the amount of caution laps as we've had green flag laps, so a lot of opportunities for Dominic to maybe make up some positions on short runs, because I'm sure he's got some of the freshest tires even back there. So the pace car will take itself down pit road, and we'll have about 26 laps to go here to figure out who's going to come out on top.
Field in the hands of that number 12, which take the green flag. Blaze will clear across the start-finish line. He'll scoot himself to the bottom. Side by side, they're fanning 3, maybe 4 wide. Man, Charlie, yeah, that's right. Charlie did not get going.
Inside.
All the way to the high side
Yellow
is the
flag is
12.
out.
Oh man, already a caution is out.
That's a quick one. And it's the 11 of Matthew Klein. Has gone around, looks like going into turn 1.
Yeah, before the turn. Not really sure what happened there.
So racing with JJ Hill and Dominic.
Oh.
That's odd. Wonder if that was a wheel issue. Because that was obviously not the way to take a corner, so I think there might be some hardware or a wheel issue there or something. But that was pretty weird.
I don't know. I think Klein was trying to let up, but Dominic shot to
Might
the
have
high
been.
side and
Ooh, nice job by that pink and black car. I think that was Talsma. To not hit him right there. That was pretty close.
oh man.
Oh my god. You had to stomp the brakes on that one.
Yeah. You saw the whole front end push down to the ground as he went and avoided, but unfortunately because of that, caution comes out again for I think the 8th time tonight.
Good news for Hunter Johnson. It's less laps that McKinney and the rest of the field can try and pass him.
That's right. More of these cautions start happening frequently, the less opportunity that number 57 Blaze will have a shot at that number 12. We mentioned about the 7, Charlie Byer, who's now all the way back in 5th place. He did not get going, but will be on the inside, I think. Or really, I'm not really sure if he's going to be inside or outside, but Charlie didn't get going. Hopefully, we'll get going this time and get a good run into 1 and 2.
Well, he'll be fourth. He'll be fourth on this restart, so he'll start on the outside of, I believe, Sartaj Man. Sartaj in the 49. He'll be just at the top of him once we go back green. You see a couple drivers getting their laps back. Again, we have 24 cars still on the lead lap. Scott Yost, that is him working around the field in the 85. Hasn't had the best night tonight. He's looking to rebound with a lucky dog if we get another yellow from here on out. But so far, it has been an intense race here at Iowa, calamity-filled one, and we're gonna take the green flag soon. So it's only gonna grow more from here.
Right. Also being streamed live on MaxspeedTV. You could go ahead and check out Joshua's stream. Joshua Medlock is broadcasting the Rick Bell's Custom Rigs Xfinity Series, round number 7 at Texas. You can also tune in to that. I think they're doing 125 laps at the new Texas Motor Speedway. So go ahead and tune into that right after this race. Yeah, not a lot to talk about not a lot to take off of from that run. Of course, we only survived all the way.
One of those street stock races.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's, of course, I don't mean any disrespect to anybody else, but this race is pretty much gone exactly how I predicted it would. It's, the Street Stock series is just known at this point. It's usually one of those messier series that have a lot of incidents, and they usually come in batches like this. So I think it's just one of those things you, I guess, got to get used to and try to form your race around, because with the amount of cautions that this series usually does see, it makes it even more important to get yourself up to the front as quickly as possible to try and avoid all that commotion in the back.
That's right. Very, very good point there. And for that number 12, Hunter Johnson, it's just playing to his favor. Of course, he qualified on top. And all these cautions are disallowing that number 57 to have a shot at him.
Yeah, and Hunter wasn't the fastest in practice either. Of course, that went to Liam Sheen. I don't think Hunter was in the top 5 in practice, but I think Liam and Charlie were the 2 fastest cars, and Liam's currently stuck in 9th after being involved in a couple incidents, and Charlie's back up there in 6th, so, or 4th rather. So, I mean, the guys that were fastest in practice have pretty much stayed up at the front, but that 12 car has just been that much better than everybody else.
Well, we'll have to see as Andy McDowell sort of screwing around. But for that 12, Hunter Johnson will be starting up front yet again. But mention how those old tires are to these top 4. It seems as though this street stock car with this setup, it gets tighter rather than looser. So for the 12, he might want to elect to take a wider arc coming into 1 and 2. I mean, into all 4 of these corners rather than staying all the way tucked to that bottom, because you're wearing out that right front. As the space car is hitting pit road, field in the hands of that number 12 is take the green flag.
Green flag.
As Blaze will file himself behind Hunter, and something happened to Hunter as Blaze will go up high, but that was
Oh man,
weird.
look at the
Hit him
20!
Danny up the high side.
Wow, what a move!
I don't know what happened to Hunter. Something went wrong with him going into turn 1, but he gathers it up here, and he might still maintain the lead here in turn 3, but he's got Blaze right on his back bumper.
Yeah, that was really awkward for the 12 of Hunter Johnson. These guys are fighting to keep their cars straight. They got another yellow on the racetrack. Yeah, caution around. You see
He was in there again. JJ Hill's smoking now.
Oh,
That's probably going to be the end of his night. There's the 15 of Regan McCauley. And I think Yost might have gotten a piece of that as well. So, yet another fast caution. And let's see what happened this time.
How'd it happen?
Oh, JJ lost it. Oh, nothing that 73 could do either. There's McCauley clipping Kiloa. That's Chris Warner in the 73. So that's the 3rd or 4th time now tonight that we've seen a guy get loose on the bottom and it just snaps right up into the outside. And unfortunately, Kiloa and Chris Warner were right in the path of that 47 car.
Yeah, there were so many cars loose at the start of that run, and that's just how these cars work at the start of the green flag run. And those tires, of course, they wear down, but they still get cold as you're running these caution laps so slowly around this Iowa Speedway. And as soon as you jump back green and hop on the gas, especially going into the corners, the car just wants to get up under you, and you're gonna have to really reinforce it. And we saw Andy McDowell, who was trying to work from the lead when Hunter Johnson had a little mishap on the restart, and he tried working to the top. He had to fight that car off the exit, and it really cost him a little bit there. But it looks to be not many positions really shaken up between this top 5. They're still pretty much relatively the same, but I'm questioning how what really happened with the 12 of Hunter Johnson on the restart. It's kind of weird.
Go ahead and take a replay of that. I think Hunter was actually expecting that number 57 to go all the way to the apron. That's what I thought. We'll take a better look at it as the green flag comes out here. Do this a bit like frame by frame, but you see the 57 ablaze. He's cleared to the low side. He's obviously going to fill up that hole that Hunter has left because of that jump. And I think there was a bit of contact right there. I'm not really sure if that shot Hunter to the inside. We'll have to take a onboard look at that number 57 if it did, but I think right there you see the.
I wonder if Hunter missed a
contact.
shift or something.
That's right. That's possible too.
Because that was just pretty odd the way that he just didn't go, but he got fortunate because he was able to gather it up fairly quickly, and Andy couldn't really get anything done on the high side because he got loose coming out of turn 4, and the caution came out right as Blaze had a run, so Hunter got lucky with another caution once again.
That's right. And I would say the 20 also got lucky as well because he was dead sideways in 3 and 4. You saw his car just wash up, and you see his gloves also just whip left and right on that wheel. So the 20 keeps his position, but unfortunate for him, he's going to be on the outside lane yet again before this restart. So the 20 McDowell will have to rely on his teammate, Mr. Tajman, right behind him. Maybe let him back in line. We'll have to see, though.
And
Yeah,
Mitch Hobbs is in that top 10 for the first time tonight. Good to see him up there. Of course, won the Super Speedway Championship in Summer Series Part 1 and almost had Joe Burgee land on top of him earlier on in this race, but the Jesus Machine is doing pretty good so far, and he's got fresher tires than a lot of the guys in the top 10, so maybe Mitch has something for these guys in this last run of the race.
I think if there's anything different that's played a huge factor in this race, apart from the tire strategy that we've been talking about over the run, it's this team allegiance. Look at all the PPM cars around this top 5. They've surrounded Hunter Johnson, who's the only proximity car within his area right now. He has a PPM car right on his outside. Then goes Andy McDowell, Sartaj Mond. Those guys, all PPM drivers working together. Of course, Charlie, SPM Racing, he's all the way down in the mix as well. And Liam Sheen is not too far behind. These PPM guys seem to be working together pretty well, and they're kind of surrounding that 12 tonight.
Yeah, and Corey H. Hartz was up there earlier on as well before being involved in the wreck where Burgee flipped all over the place. So PPM's had a strong presence up in that top 10 all night, regardless of who it was. And it almost seems like when Corey wrecked out, Sartaj pretty much took his place up in that top 10. So, yeah, you mentioned it. Of course, you got an SPG car up there as well in Mulrooney. I'm not really sure what team Ryan Barry's on. He might be an independent, but Schmidt's up there as well. So, yeah, definitely I think teams are starting to play a huge role into this race. Is whatever Hunter tries to do, the PPM guys are going to try and counter with what they're going to do.
That's right. And all those drivers, if they just time the restart well, they could single out and maybe attack Hunter Johnson in what way. As the green flag comes out, 57 will scoot himself back in line. You saw Charlie, he led up there as Hunter yet again with that block to the apron. But Blaze is going to have a run here through 1 and 2. We'll see on how it'll scoot himself out as the 20 was really sideways right up off the corner. Luckily kept it straight. Side by side, looks like for 4th now.
Yeah, the top 4 were single file momentarily.
Oh, no!
Charlie! And Raj, and Ryan Barry, and
Oh, my gosh!
Oh, my goodness. Huge flip, but another car was involved in that. It looked to be the 30.
Piling in.
Yeah, the 36 was in there as well.
Right there. Man. So that's like the 4th flip we've seen tonight. And Charlie Byers' promising top 10 run comes to a crashing halt in turn number 4. I think Sartaj may have gotten into him right here.
That's right.
And then Sartaj went up to miss him and clipped himself and Barry. Nowhere for Joyner to go. Schmidt's in there. Byer gets hammered. Hobbs gets in it. There's McCauley piling in. Jonathan Jones. Matthew Klein clips him right here. A lot of cars taken out in that one.
That was tough to watch. That 7 car was having such a good run all the way to the bottom, and it seems as though the contact with the 49 was enough to send them around, and that pretty much started everything, and then just went up into the air. We've seen that a couple of times tonight. It doesn't seem to be unfamiliar with this race. You saw Dominic Howe. Yeah, William Schmidt spun around there. Regan McCauley also in there as well. Just a bunch of drivers trying to scram away from the wreckage, and it seems as though some of them weren't too fortunate there. And you see the onboard with Ryan Barry here. See what his perspective was.
Yeah, he got clipped by Sartaj when he went up the track to avoid Charlie, and there's Regan getting into him. And I think Dominic Howe may have missed that. He got through a good amount of it, but he might have hit someone at the very end. But if you look back at Dominic's onboard, he missed a good chunk of that wreck, but he's no longer showing in the top 10, so I think he may have hit someone else. But with that wreck, we've got a much different top 10 now, as Michael Bianchini, Hunter Ellis, and KP Windsor and Regan McCauley all in the top 10 for the first time tonight. We haven't really talked about any of them up to this point, so if we get one more wreck, maybe with this top 5, of course I wouldn't wish that to happen, but if that does happen, man, what an interesting finish this would be.
It seems as though Dominic Howe, he disconnected a lap earlier. Prior to the caution, so
he went right through it, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if it was
because I definitely saw the 58 in there, but
oh, I know why.
He might have gotten disqualified.
That's right. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, we mentioned earlier the incident limits, and I'm sure Ryan Barry being involved in that incident, he's probably pretty close to that incident limit now. Of course, he was at 10x less than halfway through this event.
It's 14x now.
Yeah, he picked up a 4x there. So he was doing pretty good through the second half of this race. But unfortunately with that damage, that may have just taken him out of contention either way. So, but yeah, Hunter Ellis in the 01 and Bianchini in the 48. I think Bianchini may have just come down pit road, actually. So that'll put George Talsma up in this top 10 for the first time tonight, and as Bianchini is just messing around, actually. So I got pranked, but that's all right.
Yeah, this top 10 continues to shake up. You mentioned Hunter Ellis now into the top 10. Mitch Hobbs has sneaked his way in. KP Windsor in the 05 is now in 8th. Regan McCauley, George Tolsma now at the latter half of this top 10. Matthew Klein just outside of the top 10 as well. So even the guys behind them have really shaken up in terms of these yellows, and really with the attrition we've seen here tonight, it's pretty easy for those guys to get around the wrecks and really gain some good track position out of this one. It's just a matter of how good they can handle it, though.
That's right. Yeah, Matthew Klein, of course we saw him spin into 1 earlier after contact with the 58. Dominic Howe is now eliminated for too many incident points, unfortunately. You see the number 25, George Stolzma, Regan McCauley, Ackley, I think. I don't know how to pronounce last names. I can't even commentate right now. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, we haven't mentioned those drivers who are sitting right outside that top 10, so excited to see them work themselves toward this front here with now 9 laps to go.
Yeah, and Mulrooney and Liam Sheen were right up in that mix earlier on, and they both avoided that wreck. So Mulrooney now back up to 4th place, and Liam Sheen's back up to 5th. So those guys were up there earlier on in the race, and I guess their circle of recovery is complete now because they're right back where they were before they got wrecked. So I think Mulrooney and Liam definitely have something for these top 3. And I'm curious to see what Bianchini and Mitch Hobbs can do as well.
That's right, and I'm going to mention that. That's more contenders that 12 has to compete with to fend off for this win. He's still in the lead, but can he keep it, though? Green flag is out. We're back up and away with 8 laps to go, and looks like this time Andy got a better restart, and he'll work himself into 2nd place.
Hunter goes, I think you're right about arcing the corner. Hunter looks like he's doing that right now, and Andy now into 2nd place. Mulrooney tried the high side, but couldn't really make it work, and Blaze will maintain 3rd here out of turn 2, but they're side by side now for 2nd. Blaze trying to make the high side work now.
Blaze almost had a miracle of that too of Aaron Mulrooney just for a short period of time, but it seems as though they filed together, and now the 57 has to fend off that 20 of Andy McDowell, who's hungry for his first iSCAR win. Down to the bottom of the racetrack, he now has to hunt that.
Blaze
goes around, saves it.
And they both save it.
Wow!
They both save it, but it's enough to bring out the yellow, unfortunately. Oh my goodness.
Those are great saves by both of them. I thought that was going to be another 10 or 12 car wreck, but man, they both did a really good job saving their cars.
Yeah, man. Cannot believe the 57
Mulrooney
kept it
got
straight.
lucky. Mulrooney was right near both of those, and Bianchini snuck his way through as well, but man, what a nice job.
Yeah, definitely, and I think the 2 of Mulrooney got tight entering turn number 1. He took a wider arc than Blaze, and you see the contact there. Yeah, the 2 got tight entering the corner, and I thought the 2 of Mulrooney was on fresher tires, but looks like he's not. Ever since he got involved in that, ever since he been pushed back outside that top 10, he's been on the tires. He's ran this whole entire race, so now Mulrooney's going to be in 3rd place because of the contact.
And that'll put Ryan Berry back up into the top 10. So Ryan Berry's had quite the up and down race here tonight. Been involved in, I think, 3 or 4 incidents now. He's got fresher tires. Hope maybe that'll play into his advantage or not, but currently back into the top 10 once again. And of course, for the guys here that are really competing and focusing on the Street Stock Championship in this summer series, a strong run tonight will be a good start towards a championship run.
That's right, man. We've seen Hunter pick up 5 wins in a row, not only once, but twice in the Street Stock Series. So for Hunter to pick up a win, the opening round, that's got to be huge for, that's going to be a huge momentum boost for that number 12, who's got to see victory lane in a while. I don't know the last time he's been in victory lane, but glad to see the number 12 being dominant here tonight, like he was a year prior before his hiatus. So the 12 of Hunter, he just has to round himself himself up front, of course, when the checkered flag waves. But man, he had a mirror full of that number 57 before he got spun around, as well as that number 20 of Andy McDowell. McDowell is now in 2nd place too, so that's gonna be interesting to see on how McDowell will fare up this restart. And of course the 2 of Mulrooney up there in the mix as well. So how are our picks doing right now?
Well, mine's led every lap.
Yeah.
But I mean, Michael Bianchini's now up in the 4th place, so he did a really good job avoiding Blaze and Liam. And by virtue of saving their cars, Liam and Blaze only fell to 5th and 6th place. So even despite bringing that caution out, those two are by no means out of this race.
I think the only thing I'm going to say when it comes down to my pick is that he did not get taken out. He's still in the race. So that's pretty much all that I'm thinking about right now. And he was pretty much putting the fire to the 12 of Hunter Johnson. But with that save, I kind of had a little moment there shaking up. But I'm glad that he saved it. He's still in the race. He's still got a shot at this. Currently in 6th right now. He lost a couple spots from the save. But he's still in it. He can still make a move. But he's had a little work to do right now, but I don't think that will be too hard for him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Blaze could work himself around. I mean, I've seen him in other series. That number 57 knows how to get through the field. He's done it once before. I don't know where at, but that number 57 looking very, very strong. But unfortunately, with that spin, it sets him back all the way to 6th place. He's going to be on the outside for the restart. So hopefully that 57 of Blaze could get himself back to the inside and maybe up to the front once we get this thing done. And
I think we're in green white checker territory.
Yeah, that's right.
Now.
I was about to mention that.
Got 3 of those.
Yep, 3 attempts.
Of course, we're gonna. Oh, so go ahead. My bad.
No, you're fine. But we have 3 attempts here in iSCAR. Of course, the first flag we're gonna see is the green. If we don't make it there, as
we'll
in, yeah, we'll do it again. As
and
in,
if we don't make it, we'll do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 attempts to make it all the way to the white flag.
Yeah, so of course we've got some different end of race procedures. Of course, we're not going to do green white checkers for every series in this summer series. More on that when those races start. But for this series, I think the green white checkered is honestly one of the best things that iRacing's ever put into the service, because it's put a whole new dimension onto races when they would previously just end under caution and be kind of dull. So of course it sometimes leads to more wrecks, but hopefully tonight it leads to a lot more excitement and a pretty good finish.
That's right. I'm excited to see on how this is going to play out. 2 laps. That number 12, Hunter Johnson, has led every single one of them, but he has a handful of cars right behind him. Green flag is out. We'll see if the 20 can go to the inside, and indeed he does clear the 2 of Mulrooney as, oh, they're jamming up as they shift up. Cars all the way to the apron.
I think, not Aaron, I think
Andy, there they go.
There goes Mitch Hobbs.
Cannot believe that was no caution.
Hunter Ellis is around. That might bring the caution out with him on the apron.
I don't think
Looks
it will.
like no green for now.
Yeah, he's under the apron, so I don't think they'll call a yellow. Hunter Johnson.
Bianchini to 4th place.
He'll take the white flag, and Andy McDowell, if you are the guys behind Hunter Johnson, you have to do everything you can to gain any sort of ground on that 12. White flag is out. Hunter Johnson's in command.
Yeah, side
Michael
by side.
Bianchini's gotten himself to 2nd place. I wonder if he's got something for Hunter into turn 3, but that 48's had one hell of a run so far. Side by side with Andy McDowell into turn number 3, and that's all Hunter Johnson wants to see. And coming out of turn number 4, Hunter Johnson won the pole, and he's going to lead every single lap, and he'll take the win here at Iowa.
What a victory for that number 12. Not only winning the race, but dominating this race. And the 20 of Andy McDowell, unfortunately for his campaign for that win, it'll come short yet again here at Iowa. But wow, what a run for that number 12.
Yeah, he dominated every single lap of this event, and really, I wouldn't say it was easy for him, because he really had to fend off a handful of strong drivers to be able to take the checkered flag tonight. But what a deserving victory for that 12, bringing home another victory and the first of Season 10 in the iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Series. He'll burn it down in the front of the start-finish line, and he is your winner tonight. And oh boy, what a race we saw between those top 5.
Yeah, that restart was interesting. I think that jam up was caused by people upshifting. Of course, you break momentum once you go through the gears, and that whole inside line started to jam up because of it, and that allowed that 12 of Hunter Johnson just to pull away. And here he is in victory lane, picking up his first of the season. What a way to do it here at Iowa. We'll be back right after this. Gonna go side by side as we'll drag in the top 3 for interviews. But before we do that, we have to go through results. As Hunter Johnson picks up the checkered flag, Andy McDowell will be in 2nd place. Michael Bianchini will be in 3rd. Liam Sheen in 4th. Mulrooney in 5th. Blaze McKinney, unfortunately, falls outside the top 5. KP Windsor Man, we haven't really mentioned him. He scoots himself into 7th place. Sir Taj Mann in 8th place. Mitch Hobbs in 9th. Regan McAuley in 10th.
I think that might be Regan's first iSCAR top 10.
That's right.
Matthew Klein with a pretty solid run for him finishes out in 11th. George Talsma in 12th. Latham Joyner made himself in the top 10 earlier, but rounds himself out in 13th. Hunter Ellis was in the top 10 on that last restart, but spun onto the apron. He'll be 14th. Ryan Barry, last car on the lead lap in 15th. Jonathan Jones in 16th. Christopher Poyo in 17th. Scott Yost, Chris Warner, and Keloa Hankins round out your top 20.
Then 20th on back, there's William Schmin, the 79, who got caught up in a couple incidents. He finishes 9 laps down. Charlie Beyer, hopeful strong run early on, but got caught in the incident. Couldn't really get back up. He finishes 13 laps under the leaders. Dominic Howe, Corey H. Harge, JJ Hill rounds out the top 25. Then goes Garrett Hess, Harry Gwendell, Nick Miller, Joe Berge, who went flipping all over the track, and Jeremiah Bethune finishing just inside of the top 30, 51 laps down.
Rest of the order is going to be shown on your screen. Colton Lyons, Christopher Weil, Noah Allison, Hunter Rupp, and Cole Woody. All DNF, unfortunate to Rex. They round out 31st through 35th. We'll scoot ourselves to the side, drag in the top 3 for interviews. This is the iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Tour, round number 1 here at Iowa. Congratulations to Hunter Johnson, and he'll be the first one to interview right after this commercial break.
Where the field is rolling out for the start of today's 400-lap race on this .625-mile racetrack. Here's the starting lineup. On the pole from Dawsonville, Georgia, in the number 9 Coors Ford qualifying and Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro is underway. Everybody nicely through turns number 1 and 2 as Bill Elliott has the lead and Dale Earnhardt has jumped into 2nd position, followed by Benny Parsons and Bobby Allison.
We welcome you here back live for the iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Tour, round number 1 into the books, and congratulations to that number 12 of Hunter Johnson, who picks up his first checkered flag of the season. And man, what a way to do it for him and that proximity team. My goodness, what a dominating win. We're gonna drag him into the booth. Hunter Johnson. Hey, Hunter, it's in it. What am I saying? I don't even know what I'm saying. Ignore what I just said. But congratulations, bud. You started on pole. You led all laps, and you come out up top. How does it feel, man?
It feels good. I know, like, I think I said a while ago that I wasn't gonna be doing iSCAR anymore, but I think I'm back now. Like I said, or when we got to lap, I think about halfway through, it was just kind of cautions all throughout the beginning, but then like we started having green flag runs, towards the middle, and then I started getting battled, I started getting challenged by Blaze, and he got to my outside at one point, and I just felt like since I had led all the laps up to that point, I decided I had to try and see if I could lead all of them. So I think I may have doored him a little bit, but we were all good. And then eventually, I think it was like maybe 15 to go on the last restarts we had is when I had finally figured out how I was supposed to be driving the car on old tires. So I was able to pull away a little bit more than I had. I mean, I was struggling pretty hard up until that point. I was missing shifts on the restart. I think I was pretty lucky that I was able to hold on for the lead the whole time. But overall, it was a really good race. I didn't think I'd get the pole because I was kind of far off in practice. But besides that, I think I couldn't ask for anything more than what I got. So yeah.
That's right, man. You mentioned missing shifts there on that start. Was that the cause of the bottle up there on one of those restarts all the way in the inside?
Yeah, I think just because like we had been I mean, I probably should have been more used to it since we were getting so many cautions, but I think I was just kind of getting unfocused because we were running so many laps under pace. And I think it was also a thing where like we weren't getting up to speed as quick, and the timing was off from the beginning. But yeah, I think that was kind of what caused some of those bottle ups there. I don't know if I caused any wrecks or anything, but yeah.
All right, man. Congratulations on your first win this season, man. What a way to do it, dominating this entire race and leading all laps here tonight at Iowa, man. Before I let you go, I just want to thank you for tonight.
Yeah, I just gotta thank Proximity Racing.
All right, bud. 10-4. Hunter Johnson rounds himself on top after starting himself, where he, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I've commentated this race horribly, but congratulations, Hunter. Can't wait to talk to you after tonight's race.
All right, see you.
Yep. Skew ourselves back to second place, and I think Dewey's gonna take this one. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Yep, and we'll drag in Andy McDowell into the booth.
All right, Andy, got a copy?
Yeah, what's up?
So you, my friend, started yourself in 31st out of 35 cars, and you finished out in second place. So by far the hard charger of the race. How'd you pull that off?
Well, wrecks mostly, and we also had a fast race car. I think we could have maybe won it, but I missed a shift at the end there, which is unfortunate. But couldn't ask for a better finish besides first, so I guess I'll take it.
Yeah, Hunter. I think Hunter missed a shift on one of those restarts as well. So I guess missing shifts ended up becoming a key part of the late run. But you had a pretty strong effort for PPM tonight, including your new teammate Liam Sheen. So how do you think you guys are going to be able to work together this season?
I think we'll get a lot of good runs in. It's a big group with a lot of fast guys. We were like 4 of us were in the top 5 at one point. So hopefully we keep the momentum up and get a team championship. That would be great.
Well, you're definitely off to a good start in that category. Hey, man, before I let you go, any sponsors you want to thank here for tonight?
Yeah, Peak Performance Motorsports, Corey Hart's Media, all the Norm teammates, you guys for broadcasting. I'm open for sponsorships, though. I say this every race, but I am.
All right, well, somebody should sponsor this guy because he definitely runs good enough to earn them. Andy McDowell, the hard charger tonight, going from 31st to 2nd. Hope to see you back here for the rest of this weekend and for the summer series.
Yep, hopefully. All right, see ya.
That was Andy McDowell in the number 20. We'll scoot ourselves all the way back to 4th place, where we'll find Liam Sheen. And Kenneth will take this one away.
Hey, Liam, welcome to the MSTV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, Liam. Well, you really put on a show out there here at Iowa, and you started really well in practice. You had the car to show for it, and you really put on a good performance here. I want to ask you, how did that race look like in the top 5, especially with all those cars going down in your perspective?
It was kind of frustrating. I couldn't really, get a little bit of a run in early on. Like me and Hunter were pretty much even early on in the run, and yeah, basically had a moment in 3 and 4 after a few restarts because of cold tires. We never got some heat in them, so I had a little bit of a moment off of 4, and fell back. Wasn't quite able to get back up there. Just really frustrating having caution after caution, and just it's like you want to go somewhere and you're ready to go, and you get all set, and we just get a caution. So I mean, that gets kind of annoying, but other than that, it's nice to run up front. Good debut, I guess, for like an actual iSCAR race with PPM. Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard. It's hard to imagine how how the drivers felt, and you and all the drivers out there, especially with all those yellows coming out on the racetrack. But one thing I want to ask you, one more thing, especially, is that we saw a lot of cars slipping and sliding around this track. How did you really think of it? How did you really think Iowa was in terms of the car, especially going down the line?
It was a really good combination. It was pretty easy, or not so easy, but it was you could catch the car. It's not like if you get a little bit sideways, you try to correct it and it autocorrects right away. So, I mean, there was a few moments where I had to correct the car after getting sideways, but it was pretty simple to catch. It was a really good track for this car. There's like a little bit of off throttle time, but you were able to drive it into the corner and kind of lean on each other. It was okay. I like the combination, but some others don't, and majority is probably gonna rule here. But yeah.
All right, Liam. Well, good 4th place finish for you tonight. Before we let you go out of the booth, thank for making tonight happen.
Corey Hart's Media, just PPM in general for getting me on their team, picking me up in this off season. So good run with them. Hope we can make a strong run at the title here.
All right. Well, an impressive run for you tonight. We hope to see you next week. And of course, thank you for taking the time to join us here in the booth. We wish you luck in the next couple of races.
Thank you.
All right. All right. And that was Liam Sheen, who finished out 4th here for tonight after starting himself in 2nd place. But before we round out tonight's broadcast, so what you think about tonight? We'll start off with Dewey.
Expected. I mean, the street stock races here in iSCAR have a certain feel to them that you really don't get in any other series. I mean, you kind of know going in it's probably going to be kind of messy, but the best thing you can do is just, I guess, hope for the best and just try to run as clean of a race as possible. And for Hunter Johnson, he did just that, and by managing to get the pole in qualifying, was able to keep himself up there all race and got himself the victory here tonight.
Dewey, you said it perfectly. It was intense here at Iowa. And with the Street Stock Series, you kind of have to expect a lot of wreckage and a lot of chaos when it comes down to these cars, and especially the way they handle over the run. And we really saw that with the guys getting loose all over the track, having to save their race cars and really work to keep those cars straight. And unfortunately, some of those suffered different fates. But you said it perfectly. It was insane here at Iowa. And I think coming into the next couple of races, we're really going to see how those drivers really handle those cars, and it's probably going to continue on through the rest of the season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. With Hunter Johnson coming up top, it's definitely going to be coming down to maybe Hunter and like 5 other people who are really, really competitive that race. Of course, Blaze McKinney was one of those drivers who was really, really competitive before he got turned around. Mulrooney was up there in the mix. Liam Sheen, he too has... he finished out 4th, of course. I'm expecting him to be strong for the street stock season. Hopefully, we'll see more contenders work themselves into the season as weeks progress.
And that'll do it here for us at Iowa. Thank you very much for tuning in here for tonight's race. Thank you to Kenneth for joining us in the booth for the first time. Hopefully, we get a lot more great moments with him over the course of the street stock season, and I'm not sure if there's any other MSTV broadcasts currently on, but be sure to check those out if there are. For us, we'll be back tomorrow night for the Modifieds, which are coming back for the first time in a while. We will be at Stafford. So for Kenneth Bueno, Ezekiel Reyes, I'm Dewey Stram. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow night.